Most Americans don't realize they're making mistakes in Europe, not because they're careless, not because they're rude, but because the things that feel normal back home don't always translate well here. Travel guides don't explain this. Hotels rarely mention it, and locals usually won't correct you. They won't confront you. They won't complain. They'll just notice and quietly think, that's very American. I'm European. I've lived here my entire life. And every single year, I watch the same patterns repeat themselves. Not big disasters, not dramatic failures, but small, everyday behaviors that slowly turn a trip stressful, confusing, or far more expensive than it needs to be. These mistakes don't ruin Europe. They ruin the experience of Europe. And once you understand them, travel here suddenly feels easier, calmer, more natural, more human. These are 7 mistakes Americans make when traveling Europe. Before we start, a quick note. This channel is for Americans who want to experience Europe the way locals do. Not like tourists, not like a checklist of landmarks. If that's you, subscribe. I share real European travel insights every week. No hype, no cliches, just how Europe actually works. Mistake number 1, relying on credit cards for everything. In the United States, credit cards are universal. Gas stations, coffee shops, street vendors, small local stores. So Americans arrive in Europe expecting the same convenience. And at first it seems fine. Hotels accept cards. Major attractions accept cards. Big restaurants accept cards. But daily life starts somewhere else. A small bakery in the morning. A local cafe at lunch. A family-run restaurant in the evening. Suddenly, the card machine doesn't exist, or there's a minimum amount, or the cashier politely asks for cash. Americans often freeze in that moment. They didn't plan for it. They didn't bring cash. A line forms behind them. The atmosphere changes. No one is angry, but everyone is slightly uncomfortable. Local tip: always carry some cash. Not a lot, just enough for everyday purchases. It removes friction immediately and makes you feel more confident moving through the city. Mistake number 2, expecting free refills. This is one of the biggest culture shocks for Americans. In Europe, drinks are not unlimited. Not soda, not coffee, not water. Every drink is a separate order. This isn't about being cheap. It's about how cafes and restaurants are structured. Prices are calculated differently. Service works differently. Margins are different. Another important detail many Americans don't expect is tap water. In some European countries, tap water at restaurants is normal. In others, it isn't offered by default. And in some places, asking for tap water can feel unusual or even slightly awkward. Not because it's unsafe, but because bottled water is the standard. When Americans ask for refills, staff often pause. Sometimes they misunderstand. Sometimes they politely explain. Sometimes they simply say no. Americans may feel awkward, or confused, or even slightly annoyed. Local tip: order what you want up front. If you want tap water, ask for it specifically. And don't be surprised if bottled water is the default. If you want another drink, order another drink. Once you accept this system, the interaction feels completely normal. Mistake number 3, ignoring reservation culture. In many European cities, restaurants do not rely on walk-ins. Locals plan ahead, especially in the evenings, especially on weekends, especially in popular neighborhoods. Americans often assume spontaneity. They walk in confidently, expecting availability. When they're told the restaurant is full, they feel rejected. They assume something went wrong. But nothing did. That table was reserved hours ago, sometimes days ago. Local tip: if a restaurant matters to you, make a reservation. Even small, casual places often expect it. It takes less than a minute and saves an entire evening of frustration. Mistake number 4, dressing too casually for the setting. Europeans don't dress formally, but they dress intentionally. There is a difference. Gym shorts, athletic sneakers, Oversized hoodies. These outfits are fine at the gym or at home, but in cafes, restaurants, and city centers, they immediately mark you as a tourist. This subtly affects how people interact with you, not in a hostile way, but in a distant way. Local tip, dress simple, neutral colors, clean shoes, comfortable but thoughtful. You don't need to dress up, you just need to look like you belong there. Mistake number 5, misunderstanding personal space. Personal space in Europe works differently than many Americans expect. Physically, people often stand closer, in lines, on buses, on trains. This can feel uncomfortable at first, but socially, boundaries are stronger. Europeans separate physical proximity from emotional familiarity. Over-friendly behavior, forced small talk, touching strangers, excessive enthusiasm. These things can feel intrusive here. Americans often interpret this as coldness or unfriendliness. It's not. It's cultural reserve. Privacy is respected. Personal space is mental, not physical. People don't open up immediately, but when they do, it's genuine. Local tip, be calm, be polite, be observant. Let interactions develop naturally. Don't push conversation. Don't force friendliness. When connections happen slowly, they feel real and respectful. Mistake number 6, assuming everyone speaks English. Many Europeans do speak English, but not everyone, and not everywhere. Assuming English automatically works can feel dismissive, even when people understand you perfectly. A small effort makes a big difference. Local tip, learn a few basic phrases. Hello, please, thank you. Even imperfect pronunciation is appreciated. It signals respect, and respect changes how people respond to you. Mistake number 7, expecting everything to be efficient. Europe does not optimize for speed in the same way the United States does. But this is important. Europe is not uniform. Efficiency depends heavily on where you are. In some countries, things move fast. In others, they don't. Germany, Switzerland, and parts of Northern Europe are often very efficient. Trains run on time, processes are structured, appointments are respected. If you like order and predictability, these places often feel comfortable. But move south to Italy, Spain, Portugal, or Greece, and the pace changes completely. Meals are slower, schedules are flexible, conversations matter more than clocks. In Southern Europe, efficiency is often secondary to human interaction. A waiter might stop to talk. A shop owner might finish a conversation before helping the next customer. Americans often interpret this as bad service. It's not. It's a different priority. In many places, time is seen as something you share, not something you race against. This difference can be confusing if you expect Europe to behave the same everywhere. Local tip, pay attention to the rhythm of the country you're in. In Northern Europe, punctuality matters. In Southern Europe, patience matters. The mistake isn't moving slowly. The mistake is expecting the same pace everywhere. When you adapt to the local rhythm, frustration disappears. Europe works best when you stop fighting the pace of each place and start moving with it. If you avoid these mistakes, something shifts. Travel feels lighter. Interactions feel smoother. People respond differently. Europe doesn't change. You do. And that makes all the difference. In the next video, I'll show you how locals save money traveling Europe. Not by cutting quality, not by sacrificing experience, but by understanding how things actually work. Subscribe if you want to experience Europe the way locals do. I'll see you in the next one.